So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you a really cool way to use your periodic table to do everything that the arrow diagram was doing before. And before you start with this, you pull out your periodic table and I want you to write down the things that I'm showing you. So on the far left hand side of the periodic table, I want you to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these actually correspond to the main energy levels of the atom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you go across, this one applies to the helium that's over here. In fact, this particular helium right here belongs over here in the second column. We'll get to that in a second. But if you notice here, it's level 2 right here, and it's also level 2 right here. 3, 3, 4, 4. It's also really important that right here in the middle that you number 3, 4, 5, 6, and down below you write 4 and 5. So that corresponds to the energy levels that we're going to be talking about in terms of the way we place electrons. The second thing we need to do is we need to talk about the different orbitals that our periodic table indicates. So these first two columns right here, everything from this all the way down and over and back up here, including the helium. So this right here actually belongs over here. All of these are the S block. That means that anything, any number of electrons here, if the third electron in any atom is always going to be in an S-shaped orbital. So whatever these electrons are right here, that's the shaped orbital you're going to be in. Now remember, there are 4 different shaped orbitals. So what's the second shaped orbital? P-shaped orbital. So let's go over here. The P orbitals, they go from right here all the way down to right here and over and up. I got the very terrible pen, and over. So everything in this region right here, these are p orbitals. So everything inside here are, if I'm dealing with the 9th electron in an atom, it's going to be in a p-shaped orbital. So the 4 different shaped orbitals are s, p, d, and f. So if I'm dealing with a d orbital, that whole middle region right here, starting from here, all the way down, all the way over, and across, this is the d block. And then at the very bottom of the periodic table, we have the F block. Now here's where, in just a second, it's become really, really cool. So right now, what I can do is if I were to point to any particular electron, for example, if I pointed at neon, I could look at it and go, all right, neon, the 10th electron in neon is going to be in a second energy level, and it's going to be in a p-shaped orbital. Similarly, I could look over here and I could go zirconium. The 40th electron in any atom, it's going to be in the 4th energy level and it's going to be in a D-shaped orbital. Now, what's really cool about this is that when we are putting electrons through and we're trying to place them into orbitals, the way we do it is we read across the periodic table. So we're going to read across and it's going to be exactly the same as the arrow diagrams that we did before. So if I start over here on the left-hand side, we're just going to say what orbitals we see. So right now we have the 1, and this is an s orbital, so we have the 1s. If we go all the way across, this is still part of the 1s, so this would be 1s1, 1s2. When we get to the end of the line, we do a typewriter cha-ching, and we go to the next line. The next line is the 2, and if you see here, we have the 2s, 1 and 2. So we're filling the 2s orbital. And if we go across, we hit the 2p orbitals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go to the next row, 3s, 1 and 2. 3p, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4s, 1 and 2, and here's where it gets really cool. It goes 4s, then 3d, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then back to the 4p, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Watch how we can do shorthand notation so much simpler now. So let's take an example of what we did before. And I think what I asked you to do is I asked you to do calcium. So let's say I asked you to do calcium, and I'm going to do calcium right on top so you can see both of them simultaneously. So let's say I wanted to do it for calcium. Now, if I put my finger on calcium right here, calcium, I go backwards to the nearest noble gas that I've passed, and that's argon. So I'm going to write AR. But now instead of having to do math or anything else, what I just do is I go AR, and I go ching, and I go to the next row, and the next row is 4S, and it's 4S1, 4S2. and I'm done. I've just done the shorthand notation. Let's try another one. What if we did, let's do cadmium, CD. So way over here, right? If I look at CD, the nearest noble gas that I've passed is krypton. So I'm going to write Kr and put in parentheses. But now, since I'm just reading my table from left to right, after I hit krypton, I'm going to go ding, and I'm going to go 5s. And since I filled up both these, and since I'm going all the way over to here, we go 5s2, and then we count over 4d, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4d, 10, and we're done. Now, there is one tricky part to the periodic table. I'm going to show this to you right now. And you're not going to like it a ton, but it's how do we deal with the F blocks. So here's how this works. When we're on the fifth energy level, we go 5s2, 4d, 1 through 10. Now, I say 5s2 and then 4d10, unless we're stopping it here. So if I go 5s2 and I want to stop right here, then I go 4d, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'd stop. Or if I stop right here, I go 5s1 or 5s2. But if I'm passing straight through, I'm just going to say 5s2, 4d10, and then I'm going to go back up. See what it says 5? I'm going to go 5p, 1 through 6, and then I'm going to go 6s. Now here's where it gets kind of kooky. Instead of going directly from 6s to the 5d, instead we drop down and we go to the 4f. So we go 6s, then 4f, all the way 1 through 14, and then we go right back up here to lanthanum. So kind of picture as if this whole piece right here is carroted in between the BA and the LA. So we're going to go 6S, 1, 2, then 4F, 1 through 14, then come back up here and go 5D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then 6P, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6P6, since we're not going to stop there. Then we go 7S, and now again, this whole bottom row here, which is the F block, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned that before, this whole bottom row right here, we go RA, then we hit down to here, and we go 5F, 1 through 14, and come back up here, and then we go 6D, 1 through whatever. Now, what that means is if I were to ever ask you, let's say I want you to do uranium. I want you to give me the notation for uranium. Well, if I asked you to do that, I'm going to go back up here so we have a little bit of room. If I wanted you to do uranium, what I would do is I would start uranium and backtrack, and the nearest noble gas that I've passed would be radon. So I'm going to go Rn. Then I'm going to go Rn and go ding, and that's going to be 7s2 because we're not stopping there. And then I'm going to drop down here, and it's going to be 5f, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go 5f3. So hopefully this has helped you to figure out a short way to do all of these notations. Thanks.